There are people in this world who do not want to heal. They do not seek growth, transformation, or responsibility. They want relief at someone else's expense. They want a lifeline, a rescuer, a soft place to land, but never a mirror to face themselves. And if you are generous, compassionate, attentive, if you are the type who can feel when others are hurting, then you've already met these people. They will come smiling. They will come wounded. They will come carrying stories about betrayal, misfortune, and injustice. And your heart will respond because you know what pain feels like. But listen carefully. Not everyone who is suffering wants to be saved. Some are protecting their suffering like a treasure. Some are attached to their wounds because it gives them identity. Some want power through guilt. And some simply want to drag others down with them. If you try to lift them, they will pull harder. If you try to heal them, they will resent you for succeeding. If you offer love, they will use it as a rope to bind you. So today, we're going to speak the truth most people are afraid to say. You must stop helping certain people before they destroy your spirit. Before we begin, if you've given and given and given and ended up empty, confused, or used, subscribe to DarkPhilsy. Decode shadows, unlock wisdom, shape your life. Now, let's begin. 7 types of people you must not help. Number 1. The victim who refuses to change. There are people who carry their pain the way others wear jewelry, on display, close to the skin, always ready to be shown. To them, suffering is not just an experience, it is an identity. It is the place they return to, the narrative they retell, the shelter they never intend to leave. You will recognize them the moment you try to help. At first, they seem grateful, they seem open, they seem eager. They will tell you their story in vivid detail, who hurt them, who betrayed them, who failed to show up. And your heart will respond, because you know pain, because you know empathy, because you know what it means to feel alone in your struggle. So, you offer advice, you offer support, you offer time, compassion, maybe even a piece of your strength. But the moment your words point toward responsibility, something changes. Their face closes, their tone shifts, their answers become longer, heavier, designed to prove why change is impossible for them. Every suggestion meets a wall. Yes, but my situation is different. Yes, but you don't understand how hard it is for me. Yes, but you don't know what I've been through. Of course you don't. But they also don't want you to. Because if change is possible, then they must confront the difficult truth. The life they suffer inside is one they are participating in maintaining. If they improve, they lose their leverage. If they heal, they lose their excuse. If they grow, they lose the identity that shields them from accountability. So they repeat the cycle. Tell the pain, describe the wound, reject the cure. The more you give, the more they sink. Not because your help is ineffective, but because they are committed to staying exactly where they are. The most painful lesson is this. Some people do not want to be saved. They want to be rescued. The difference is everything. To save someone is to help them rise. To rescue someone is to carry them while they refuse to walk. If you continue, you will lose yourself trying to fill a hole they are actively digging. So you must step back. Not out of cruelty, but out of wisdom. Because your compassion is not meant to become your cage.
Number 2. The one who uses their wounds as power. Some people don't ask for help, they demand emotional currency. They know exactly how to speak so that your empathy awakens. They know how to soften their voice, lower their eyes, sigh at the right moment. They tell their stories in a way that makes them look fragile, but not responsible. To them, suffering is not something to heal from. Suffering is leverage. They use their wounds like a quiet blade. You know what I've been through. I can't handle being alone. If you love me, you'll stay. They create a contract you were never allowed to read. A contract that says, your role is to carry my pain. Your identity is the caretaker. Your value is measured by what you sacrifice. At first, helping them feels noble. You feel needed. You feel meaningful. You feel like you are giving something important. But slowly, gently, the weight increases. Your schedule begins to revolve around their emotional storms. Your choices shrink to avoid upsetting them. Your joy becomes guilt. Your exhaustion becomes betrayal. And every time you try to set a boundary, they bleed. Not literally, emotionally. Their sadness intensifies. Their voice trembles. Their messages get longer. Their silence becomes heavier. They are not asking for support. They are enforcing dependence. Because as long as you are responding to their suffering, you are controlled by it. And this is the part most people never understand until it is too late. Not everyone crying is in pain. Some are performing. Not always consciously, but effectively. Their deepest fear is not being alone. It is being responsible for themselves. If you continue helping them, you become a shield protecting them from consequences. And when consequences can't reach a person, they never grow. So the most compassionate act is the one that feels cruel. You step back. You return their life to them. You let reality speak in your place. You will feel guilt at first, but guilt is not truth. It is the residue of a bond built on emotional manipulation. Your heart is not a leash. Your love is not a chain. Your empathy is not a form of currency. You are not required to bleed to prove you care.
Number 3. The one who sees your kindness as weakness. There are people who cannot recognize goodness for what it is. To them, gentleness is not care, it is submission. Patience is not maturity, it is inferiority. Empathy is not strength, it is permission. They watch how you move in small moments. They notice that you soften your voice so others feel safe. They notice that you apologize when there is tension, even if you are not at fault. They notice how quickly you forgive, how easily you accommodate, how much you bend. And they make a silent decision. I can take more. At first, they are polite, respectful, grateful. But over time, their tone shifts. They speak more sharply. They respond more slowly. They begin to test how far your patience stretches. They show up late. They ignore your messages. They cancel your plans. They disappear when you need support, but expect you to answer instantly when they call. And when you finally express pain or disappointment, they look at you with a hint of confusion, or worse, amusement. Because in their world, only power matters. Only dominance commands respect. And since you tried to love them instead of overpower them, they assume you have no power at all. So they escalate. They don't say thank you anymore. They don't notice your effort. They don't value your presence. They treat your kindness as the baseline and your suffering as irrelevant.
But here is where everything changes. You stop explaining yourself. You stop justifying your worth. You stop staying accessible. You go quiet. Not angry, not dramatic, just gone. And the moment your presence is no longer guaranteed, they feel a fear they cannot name, because they built their identity on the assumption that you would always stay. But you do not stay where you are diminished. Your kindness does not exist for those who cannot see it. There is nothing louder than the silence of someone who finally understands their value, and nothing colder than the realization that they mistook love for weakness.
Number 4, the one who takes and takes and takes. Some people are not malicious. They are not manipulative. They do not plot or deceive. They simply never learned to give. They are accustomed to being carried. They expect effort to come from others. They believe support is something that just happens around them. You will know them by how naturally they receive. They accept your time without noticing your schedule. They accept your reassurance without recognizing your fatigue. They accept your patience without caring for the weight you carry in silence. They are not cruel, but they are consuming you. You start small. You help because you care. It feels natural, and it feels good to give. But slowly, gradually, their needs expand. If you're busy, they say, "You always help. Why not now?" If you're tired, they say, "You're strong. You'll be fine." If you need support, they say, "I can't deal with that right now." Not because they do not value you, but because they have never been required to. And in time, your presence stops being a gift. It becomes a condition of their comfort. You start to feel yourself shrinking. You speak less to avoid conflict. You ask for less to avoid disappointment. You stay quiet because every expression of your needs feels like an inconvenience. The balance is gone. You have become the giver and they the receiver, and nothing in their world suggests this should ever change. But here is the truth they will never tell you. They do not realize how much you do, because you have done it too well. You became the foundation of their emotional stability, their convenience, their peace. And foundations are rarely noticed until they crack. So the moment you withdraw, even slightly, they panic. They accuse you of being selfish, cold, changed. But they are not mourning you. They are mourning the loss of service. This is why you must remember, your kindness is not endless. Your strength is not infinite. Your heart is not disposable. If you continue to pour into someone who does not pour back, you will eventually become a ghost inside your own life. The cure is not an argument, not a confession, not a dramatic exit. Just less. Less access, less availability, less sacrifice. Let the imbalance reveal itself. The ones who truly value you will step forward. The ones who only consumed you will fall away.
Number 5. The one who wants rescue, not change. You will meet them everywhere. In friendships, relationships, families, even at work. They are easy to recognize because they live inside a story that never evolves. Every conversation returns to the same loop. They talk about what went wrong, who failed them, why life is unfair. They say they want peace, healing, a new beginning. But when you hand them a key, they stare at the lock and start another story instead. They are addicted to being rescued. At first, your empathy lights up. You see potential.
You see someone broken but reachable, someone who just needs a bit of support, and you tell yourself that your care can make a difference. You stay up late listening. You give advice. You offer money, time, comfort. You sacrifice things you never thought you would. And each time, they promise, "This time, I'll really change." But days later, you find them exactly where they were. Different crisis, same pattern. Because what they crave is not transformation, it is attention. They want the feeling of being cared for, not the discomfort of growth. They want the comfort of crisis, because crisis brings connection. If life becomes calm, they no longer know how to exist, so they unconsciously create new problems to stay relevant, stay pitied, stay saved. And in that dance, you lose yourself. You become the rescuer in a story with no ending. Their suffering becomes your responsibility. Their chaos becomes your identity. But here is what no one tells you. Every rescuer eventually becomes the villain. The day you stop saving them, they say you've changed. The day you ask for peace, they say you've abandoned them. The day you set a boundary, they say you're cold. You become the proof of their belief that everyone leaves, that no one truly helps. But that belief was never yours to carry. You cannot build a bridge for someone who refuses to walk across it. You cannot heal someone who benefits from staying broken. The hardest act of love is not rescue, it is release. To say, "I see your pain, but I will not drown in it with you." To allow them to meet their own reflection without your shadow blocking the view. And if they ever truly want to change, they'll do it when no one else is watching.
Number 6. The one who hides cruelty behind kindness. Some people do not harm by shouting. They harm softly. They smile. They speak gently. They appear caring, attentive, thoughtful. But their kindness is a design, not a gift. They help you in ways that create debt, not financial debt, but emotional dependence. They give you exactly what will make you feel safe, so they can become the place you return to. And when you lean in, when you trust them, when you begin to open your chest and let them see the inside of your soul, they begin to shape you. Not with force, not with threats, but with subtle pressure. You know I'd do anything for you, right? I just want you to be okay. I'm only saying this because I care. Their kindness slowly becomes the cage, and when you finally see it, it's always too late, because they did not take your freedom. You handed it to them, thinking they were the safest person in the world. This is the most dangerous manipulation because it feels like love. You don't notice the cost at first. They start making small decisions for you. Where you go, who you talk to, what you think. They guide your emotions. They shape your reactions. Not through demand, but through influence. And influence always feels gentle, until it isn't. They don't say, "You belong to me." They say, "I just understand you. No one else does." And slowly, they position themselves as your home, your interpreter, your sense of meaning. So when they withdraw their kindness, it feels like you're dying. You chase their approval. You try to get back the affection you once received. You start compromising yourself, piece by piece. And that is exactly what they wanted. Because the truth is, anyone can be cruel in anger, but only the truly manipulative are cruel in tenderness. And the only way to escape them is to remember who you were before they taught you how to feel.
This type forces you to redefine love, not as something that comforts you, but as something that does not require your self-sacrifice to exist.
Number 7. The one who takes you with them when they fall. There are people who do not want to heal, not because healing is impossible, but because their identity is built on their suffering. Their pain is their personality. Their heartbreak is their story. Their wounds are their excuse. And when they feel themselves sinking, they look for someone strong to grab onto. Not to climb out, but to pull down with them. They seek the kind-hearted, the patient, the loyal, the ones who don't turn away easily. At first, you think you are helping them stand. You speak gently. You listen. You offer understanding where the world once gave them neglect. But slowly, you begin to feel it. Your happiness makes them uncomfortable. Your progress threatens them. Your ambition irritates them. Because if you rise, they must face the truth that they are choosing not to. So they don't say, "Stay where I am." They say, "Don't leave me." They say, "You're changing, and I don't know who you are anymore." They say, "You think you're better than me." They turn your growth into betrayal. And you begin to shrink yourself just to keep the peace. You dim your light to make them feel less small. You soften your victories to avoid their silence. You break your own momentum because running ahead feels like abandonment. But understand this. Some people don't want a ladder. They want a witness. Someone to watch them replay the same suffering again and again and call it fate. If you are not careful, you will mistake self-destruction for loyalty. You will call it compassion. You will call it love. You will call it being there for someone who needed you. But the truth is harder. You are not responsible for someone who refuses to stand. If they do not choose themselves, you cannot choose for them. If they do not want to climb, you cannot carry them. And if they do not want to see the light, you will both drown in the dark. The hardest lesson of all: saving yourself will sometimes look like abandoning someone, but losing yourself for them is abandoning you. Walk away gently. Walk away quietly, but walk away. You are not obligated to destroy yourself for others. You are not required to be the healer, the savior, the emotional shelter for every lost soul. Your compassion is sacred. Do not waste it on those who love evil. Do not waste it on those who feed on it. Do not waste it on those who see you as a fool, a tool, or a leash. Give it where it is honored, where it is valued, where it is reciprocated. And if this message felt like truth, not advice, then you already know you're changing. Welcome to DarkPhilsy. Decode shadows, unlock wisdom, shape your life. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.